Welcome to the Weather Shed. I'm Jason Voorhees. I'm your chief prognosticator, weather interpreter, veteran storm chaser, and at least for this weekend, local Iowan. Welcome to a special Friday the 13th edition of the Weather Shed. Just kidding, it's Clarence.
You knew it was me. All right. It's Friday the 13th, but the weather is downright delightful, not scary at all. Yesterday, I have to admit, in all honesty, as this channel's all about, we got some things wrong. The HRRR was pointing at up to 4/10 of an inch to half an inch of rain in spots in eastern Iowa, and it was wrong. Anything like that. Any precipitation at all has fallen. We got a few showers here in south central Iowa right now, but it's not really going to amount to much and will definitely not impact the Friday night football games. However, what was accurate, very accurate in fact, was the cloud cover covering the eastern 2/3 of the state, with the exception of the northwest corner. And that's what we're looking at here, a recent satellite image. However, the Weather Prediction Center is still looking at the possibility of some rainfall for the state in northeast Iowa, maybe a 1/10 of an inch, which I honestly probably wouldn't buy that for $1. I don't think that's going to happen. It could, but it won't really do much for anyone. So, looking ahead tonight, you'll see that we have kind of a warm spot where it's been cloudy. That cloud's going to trap in the heat, not allow it to escape back to space. And then we'll be cooler overnight where there haven't been any clouds. So that's our look at expected lows. Tomorrow highs, much of the same as what we've been dealing with, pretty close to 80 degrees for most of the state. A tad bit warmer where we'll get some clearing, I think, in the southeast corner, and then cooler than we have been a little bit here in the Siouxland area. So cloud cover should remain persistent. This is the National Weather Service forecast cloud cover percentage for 1 p.m. on Saturday. You can see the thickest is expected here in the northeast quadrant of the state. So, if you're like me, you're probably wondering, when is fall coming? Getting a little bored with this summer-like 80-degree weather every day. Nights, mornings aren't too bad, but if you're like me, it's time to break out the hoodies. And some maybe a little bit unfortunate news for you. We're going to have to wait at least a week and a half here. This image, this animation that we're looking at now, is the temperature anomaly at 850 millibars. Now, you may not know what a millibar is, but all you need to know is this is not at the surface, but a little higher up here in our lower atmosphere. The orangey reds are obviously the warmer colors, and then the blues, purples are cooler colors. And in case you lost where we're at, there is Iowa. So, this means we will expect warmer than average temperatures for the foreseeable future. Now, if we look out a little bit further, and this is the European model, and regardless of where it comes from, 228 hours up here is a long time. Most models I don't trust past 3 days, and here we're looking at Sunday the 22nd at 7 p.m. And this may be possibly when we start to see a little bit of relief, a little bit cooler temperature, maybe even below average once this sweeps through. And I also expect the clash between these warm and cool air masses could spark off some severe weather. And we may even have a round of that yet this coming week, but I'm not going to get into it yet because it's still a ways out. But I think eventually we're going to see cooler temperatures, and right before that, the potential for severe weather. Now, a lot of us are familiar with springtime severe weather and that whole chase season that everyone gets real nervous and just anticipates. But most people don't realize there is a second season. It's usually brief, especially here in Iowa. We may only get, 2, maybe 3 viable chase days where there is the risk of all hazards, tornadoes, and whatnot. I don't know yet if this will be one of those, but it kind of has a look like maybe it would be. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. Now, don't just take my word for it. The Climate Prediction Center has put out their forecast, 6 to 10 day forecast, and they're saying between 70 and 80% chance of above average temperatures, which lines up to what the models are showing. And while we're at it, we'll look at the precipitation forecast, and depending where you're at in Iowa, they're saying equal chances there in the eastern part of the state, but perhaps above average chance there in around Siouxland, and kind of a gradient in between. So we'll just have to see. I'm a little more skeptical of the precipitation outlook, but it does seem like the temperature outlook will be spot on for us. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Break out the cocoa and hoodies, and well, you're probably already drinking the pumpkin spice. So, but that'll do it for Friday the 13th edition of the Weathershed. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, please consider leave a comment. Tell me how I'm doing, what you'd like to see covered, and well, maybe even list your hometown. Maybe we'll do a special forecast in a future video. So have a pleasant weekend, and maybe, just maybe, I'll do another video tomorrow. Have a good night.